Dollars that has gone unaccounted for at the Pentagon. That's right, trillion with a T. And I feel like every time this topic is even mentioned, it should come with like a little suffix. Just a little suffix right there. And that suffix should be, $21 trillion! God damn it, with a pineapple up your what the hell? That's right there, right there. Anyway, the 21 trillion includes $6.5 trillion unaccounted for in 2015 alone. And when I covered this a few months ago, really the only two journalists looking into it were David DeGraw, writing for his own website, and a single Forbes article, which was co-written by the economist who discovered the unaccounted adjustments, Mark Skidmore. And by discovered, I don't mean Skidmore like found a dusty shoebox in Donald Rumsfeld's old desk underneath the, the baby skeletons, underneath the baby skeletons. No. I mean, he took a minute to look at the Defense Department's own Inspector General's report. So really, he just bothered to look at the thing that was designed for the public to look at. That's what he did. Anyway, after the Redacted Tonight episode came out, it got hundreds of thousands of views. My Truth Dig article on the same topic also went viral, and so did that Forbes article. Yet despite all of that, still not a word from Congress, not a word from the hacks at your mainstream media outlets. But then, just a few weeks ago, something significant was said by the Deputy Secretary of Defense, Patrick Shanahan. It happened in a quiet news dump on a press conference that actually began like this. Deputy Secretary of Defense. So you guys know why I came down here today? Reporter, to see if we ate the donuts? Just because we're murdering people all around the world doesn't mean we can't have fun, right, folks? Whackity, schmackity doo. During that silly, wacky press conference, the Deputy Secretary of Defense casually mentioned halfway through that the Pentagon had failed its first ever audit. The first time the Pentagon had ever been audited, even though it was legally required to do so since the early 90s. And after Shanahan dropped that bombshell, here's what followed. Reporter, what part did the Pentagon fail in the audit? Shanahan, how about I give you like the technical version of that? There are a considerable number of areas where we kind of had a pass. And then there's some other ones where they went through and they said, we went into your inventory system and we didn't find these things, and therefore there's a finding, so you don't have a clean assessment. So, and in a lot of these audits, it's the type of finding that matters. If they want to learn what real reporting looks like, they can check out the investigative expose from The Nation magazine that came out a couple of days ago. The Nation said, for decades, the DOD's leaders and accountants have been perpetrating a gigantic unconstitutional accounting fraud, deliberately cooking the books to mislead the Congress and drive the DOD's budgets ever higher. DOD has literally been making up numbers in its annual financial reports to Congress. So here's how this fraud works. Every year, the Pentagon tells Congress how much money they need. They submit the financial reports from the year before, filled to the brim with heaping, steaming bullshit. All right? Trillions of gallons of bullshit called adjustments. Those adjustments cover up the fact that they didn't necessarily spend all the money the year before. However, instead of returning such unspent funds to the U.S. Treasury, as law requires, the Pentagon sometimes launders and shifts such monies to other parts of the DOD's budget. And this is no mistake. This is fraud. The Pentagon's accounting fraud diverts many billions of dollars that could be devoted to other national needs. Indeed, the Pentagon's accounting fraud amounts to theft on a grand scale. Theft not only from America's taxpayers, but also from the nation's well-being and its future. So right after the nation came out with this past week, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted about it, basically saying that these unaccounted trillions at the Pentagon could help pay for Medicare for all. This story is starting to gain traction. People can see the truth. And right now, it is the corporate media tools who are trying to make sure you think, it's just some accounting errors. Pay no mind to the fact that it amounts to the largest theft ever perpetrated against the American people.